Welcome to part two. I'm joined by Alex from Scotland in the Highlands. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
All right. Okay then. Right. Let's talk about the middleweights. Where do you think the middleweight division's going at the moment? And is Christopher Eubank Jr. is he going to fight a middleweight for a belt, or is he just wanting your Kell Brooks and Conor Benz and gimmick fights? What do you think, Alex?
Uh, it's not the. It was always my favourite division, middle, because I've always been a fan of the old school guys. You know, way back to the 40s and the 50s when there was a single belt, Jake LaMotta. But the modern middleweights, I don't think the middleweight division has been that great for a long time. Chris Eubanks, like I say, I don't think we're ever going to see what the best of him was, because he's been so temperamental in his approach to fighting with regularity and fighting the best guys. How can we ever know? The problem is he had a hell of a lot to live up to, big boots to fill with his dad. The pressure was on him from day one. It's almost as if the guy was doomed to fail. Same with Crusher. They don't want to lose that aura. We've came to a point in boxing where nobody wants to fight anybody for fear of losing their record. It's all about record now, whereas in the bygone era, the best would fight the best at the drop of a hat. Guys fighting 4, 5, 6 times a year, 50, 60 fight records, and a lot more sometimes. You know, take me back to the times of bloody Tito Trinidad and, Pernell Whitaker, guys like that were just born to fight. Now it's all two grand Gucci jackets and driving Bugatti cars. Crusher Ben's driving a bloody Bugatti or a Lamborghini or something. He's never won a title. He's never fought MD.
Yeah, but what we've got to understand is this: a lot of them cars that he's got, the lease and
Understand that as well, but you've still got to pay for them.
Yeah.
You've still got to pay for them and fuel them up and insure them, and they'll be 10 grand to insure those cars. So you shouldn't be allowed to get to that, and he's got no right to be in Saudi in these big platforms. He's not done anything domestically. Like I say, a name will carry you a long way in this sport, and so will the connections. But what does that do to all these other young welterweights and middleweights that have put their life in the line, that are living in gyms and still staying with their mums at 25 because they can't afford a mortgage? They're every bit as good as them. Britain's always had a phenomenal pool of talent when it comes to boxing. There's a lot of hardy boys and housing schemes in Scotland that will never ever get a bite of the cherry financially, and it's repetitive. They go off the rails, booze, coke. There's great talent. You will never see it, and yet you've got, no disrespect to Chris Eubank, I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's literally swanning around, multi-millionaire. He's a couple of notable fights, and other than that, it's no great reading. I just don't know. I think it's another unrealised career that will never, it'll be debated forever. How good was he? Or maybe it won't, because people don't find him that interesting. How good could Billy Joe have been, if he actually dedicated himself to the sport?
Yeah.
There's no doubt Billy Joe could fight. There's no doubt that he was elite. But he bummed about and all the rest of it, which then makes me say, if I really look at his record and I really read into everybody he fought and beat and all the rest of it, was he elite?
Billy Joe? No.
Well, there you go. There's your opinion, is he wasn't he?
Has he got an elite win? Where's his elite wins?
Well, that's the thing.
Andy Lee. Let's dissect Billy Joe's CV. Andy Lee, John Ryder, Chris Eubank, David Lemieux. Right, they're his 4 best wins. So out of them 4 best wins, who would you say is at top of his game? Well, Eubank and John Ryder, could you say they were world champions? One had a regular, one had an interim. What about the other one? David Lemieux, he was a former champion. So you tell me. Oh, all right.
But Billy Joe would always, he's a big draw, right? He'll always be a big draw because
Like
he's
middleweight fighting as a middle stroke super middle.
Yeah, because he doesn't train properly.
Frankie Gavin were a lightweight fighting as a welterweight stroke 154. Not dedicated. Keep your feet out the fridge. So, but multi-talented. People say James Toney didn't get enough out of his career because he were always overweight and battling the scales and that, you know, because how can a middleweight professional end up fighting as a heavyweight, but yet he's a grown-ass man? You shouldn't be able to put all that weight on. It's because the dedication goes, isn't it? You become normal. You live in a big house. You eat more. You eat better food.
Yep.
There's no hunger there. But at least he ended up winning multiple world titles, James Toney.
Yeah, I would argue with anybody that said that Tony didn't get something out of his career. The guy's a legend. He's one of the top fighters, you know, ever to lace up a pair of gloves, in my opinion.
But when you look at Billy Joe's CV, basically gifted a middleweight title, WBO, and gifted a super middleweight title. Definitely gifted a superweight middle. Yeah, Andy Lee for
Definitely.
WBO belt were an hard fight. But if Billy hadn't dropped him twice in that fight, he'd have lost that fight. But point I want to make is the super middleweight, you were gifted that, and you never really got the inclination that Billy Joe were going to go after the WBC and IBF guys, did you?
No.
We never seen that same energy. All we've seen were the usual bricktop WBO defences, didn't we? You know, that like the Enzo Macaronelli, Nathan Cleverly, Ricky Burns, them sort of Alex Arthur, you know, all that WBO nonsense. And Billy drifted into that, didn't he? That sort of them sort of opponents, and he went a bit stale with Bricktop. That's why he went to Eddie Hills. I broke the story on my channel. Everybody said, "Oh, full of rhubarb." So now he's going him. Get ready, and he did. But he can't go back to Bricktop now, can he?
No, he's called him out too many times.
If he comes back, if he's burnt bridges with Matchroom, that's him done, isn't it? What's he going to do? Where's he going to go? It's like Eubank, right? He can't work with Bricktop, can he, Eubank? Because they burnt bridges. So what is he going to do? He's only stuck with Hills, isn't he? And Eddie will know that. That's how it goes.
But he'll still make money. Billy Joe will still sell tickets. Like I say, I can take him or leave him.
Alex, I don't know where you get it from that he's a ticket seller. Frank Warren put a world title fight on in his hometown at a non-league football stadium, Hertfordshire, right? Hearts, or whatever it is. How many were there? It were empty, wasn't it? They even had Tyson Fury turn up on that. It were empty, that show. Do you remember it?
Tyson was probably there because he's the draw. People go there hoping to get a selfie with him.
Couldn't even sell it out there, mate. They couldn't even sell it out. So that's when Bricktop looked at that situation and thought, do you know what? I can't keep losing money with Bill. That's why when Bill went, it was amicable, wasn't it? Normally, Bricktop fights tooth and nail for his guys, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Let him go. Bit like when Eddie let Coley go. And do you know what I mean? Without any legal issues, although there were a bit at first, weren't there? Boazzi was saying the same thing, but now there's legal issues. Eddie once said, if nobody wants to work with me, the door's there, because I'm Eddie Hills, I'm nice and firm. If you don't like it, the road's up there. That's it. We don't need contracts, it's handshakes and that. But when Boazzi wanted to go, they didn't want him to go to Sky, did they? You know.
Do you like Andy Lee, Russ?
I didn't like him as a fighter. His style, I thought, didn't interest me. But he seems to be doing good as a trainer, doesn't he? He's done well.
He does, yeah.
We can't knock what he's done with Parker. But the proof will be in the pudding. Parker's been carefully matched. Once Parker steps up, we're going to see. Parker's a top 5 guy, in my opinion. I don't think he's ever been above that. He flew to WBO. You know that, I know that. And he definitely knew that in his hometown. Thought Ruiz done him by 3 rounds. He's got a bit of a stinky style. You know, there's the outside, staying on outside of a man's reach. And then there's Parker, who's like, and another foot away, innit? Whereas the greats, they're just on outside. And then they just take that little step, you know, about that much, just to get you. But he don't. He's like always on outside in it, and to me, he's not engaging. He's not.
He doesn't engage.
Kid Galahad and Andre Ward.
Yep.
They're not engaging. They're always on the. If they've scored a jab in the round, they're on the bike. They think they've won that round then, and that's
super cautious.
Yeah, it's no good. But look, it's an entertainment business, isn't it? It's the.
It is entertainment.
It's you what?
It is entertainment, and you're right. And good 3 examples. Kid Galahad as well. You know what I mean? He built a career on being extremely cautious and no engaging. And Andre Ward, I can barely remember an interesting fight he was in, but look at how he's regarded, an all-time great.
Oh, Andre Ward, yeah?
Yeah.
We have to look at wins he's had. He's got 7 wins over world champions. You know, apart from them Kovalev wins, you'd say the 5 champions he beat at super middleweight more or less made his legacy, didn't it, really? But let's have it right. There was stinky, horrible, messy fights that he's been in, weren't they? You know?
Nothing memorable.
We can't say that in front of Terry, though, can we, Terry? Skipping no parts, son. It's down here, ain't it, Jim?
When do you think was the last good middleweight era in
middleweight
Britain?
era in this country? I think you're probably looking at Nigel Ben Eubank, weren't you? 30 years ago. 30
That's pretty disappointing, isn't it?
Very disappointing. And then before that, you'd be looking at, you know, your Mark Kaler, Errol Christie, you know, Steve Collins, Sumbo Colombe, you know, all them fights, you know, from a long time ago, 30 odd years ago, that era. James Toney, Mike McCallum, Errol Bomber Graham, you know, when middleweight title meant something. Now,
it meant something.
Can anybody tell us who main man at middleweight is? Is it Nathan Heaney? Man does man in the street now.
So that, like I say, that I'd wait, and I'm looking at Scottish boxers just now. Willie Lemon's he's going back to get another fight again, right? Willie's best was long ago. Good luck to him. You know, he'll chase a few quid. But we're still talking about Wally Lemon. And when people talk about Scottish boxers, they still talk about Ricky Burns. It's come on, where's the talent? We're stuck 20 years ago. I was going to see Scott Harrison 20 years ago. I know Scott personally, and there's nobody to talk about.
Yeah.
Scotland. Some of the best boxing nights I ever had were in Scotland, and now there's nobody that comes to mind where I can say, I really can't wait to follow this guy's career. That's the state the game's in. And I truly believe, I blame the promoters. I blame the top promoters. There's no investment in British boxing, and there's no incentive for young guys to go and do it.
Okay. Who do you think is the best prospect at the moment in the country? Ben Whittaker?
I would hate to admit it, because I cannot stand his style. Can't stand watching it, Russ.
Are you always so cheery, Alex? I thought I was bad.
I'm a miserable twat, mate. But listen, it reminds me of bloody Michael Venom Page in the UFC.
He's all right, isn't it? That, isn't he? That MMA, isn't he?
He is, but I don't like it. I find it disrespectful. I don't like showboating. The only showboater I ever enjoyed watching was Nazim Hamid.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, nobody done it like Naz before or after. He was a one-off. And I just don't really like Whittaker's style. I can't see all that wiggling the bum and all this. I can't be asked with it. I just like pure boxing. So, but he's probably the best prospect right now as we speak.
Yeah, you think, yeah?
Well, who else is there?
No, that's it, isn't it? I had big plans. Well, some big plans. I had big aspirations, that's the word, for Dennis McCann. I thought he was just going to do the business, and he had that draw on that, and there isn't much hype about him now, is there, Dennis McCann?
I did a video on Dennis about 2 years ago, and I sung his praises to the heavens. I thought, this young guy is just going to run through everybody. Heart of a lion, classy fighter, great, completely dedicated. He's got great looks. He speaks well. And now it's just fizzled out, because I don't believe they see the money in him. So therefore, they're literally he's way down the menu now for the promoters, because that's what I think. It's only now about as many tens of millions as they can get. Frankie and Eddie are in competition with each other. Who's got the biggest turnover? Who rules the roost truly? That's all they care about. What does Dennis McCann generate? Not enough for them. They're out in Saudi. They're chasing oil drums full of money, Russ. They've stole boxing from us.
Why did we own it?
We did. We're the paying public. We're the fans. Without the fans, you've not got a sport. Honestly, I can't stand what they've done to the sport, Russ. It drives me crazy. Don't like it. It's my sport. I've watched boxing all my life, and now I just feel bitter towards it. It's like it's making me resentful. All the talent in the UK, and they can't, and they're away running around halfway around the world. His Excellency bowing and curtsying to people. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And all the homegrown talent's getting seen off. And all these young guys that are in gyms are all going to end up going to crime and everything else because they can't get a wage. That's where I see it going.
Where do you see the Gad now in boxing? you see him rising above, because we have Gad doing his Hong Kong Fooey kicks, don't we? And now we've got Eddie Hills doing kicks and taekwondo moves on camera and all that. Do you think that it's all a bit gimmicky now?
I see the Gad 10 years from now in a YouTube true crime documentary for, somebody phoning Dino Rod and blowing bloody limbs out of a kitchen drain.
I can't understand the word you said there, mate. Could you speak the King's English?
I'm saying, I see the Gad 10 years from now on a YouTube documentary. Somebody's phoned Dino Rod and they're jet washing somebody's arms and legs out of a drain. He's got the old Dennis Nielsen thing going on.
You're saying the Gad will probably be on a documentary because he's live up in HMP Wakefield, Monster Mansion.
Yeah. He'll end up in Monster Mansion, or he'll end up in a register that I don't want to mention.
Nah, listen, that won't happen to Gad. That's only a bit. We hope not, don't we, Alex? We hope.
I'm maybe being a bit harsh there, but I just think that, he's the king of the brown nosers.
Oh, this brown nosing, it's got to stop. People give me a load of stick in comments section, or you sending me a personal email to porkycorner@mail.com. Let me just say this to you. When you press that send button, that's it. You've sent it, haven't you? So if I give Gad stick, it's because he deserves it. Now, when you're leering over women and you're saying, or you're going up to women at shows and saying, you've got powerful thighs, can you show me them? Can you tense your thighs up? When you're doing things like that and saying things like that's just not really cool. Like, do you shower before a fight, Dylan? Dylan, like, what? It's odd behaviour. It's behaviour because these people are not around people that have been fetched up on council estates or housing estates or have had tough upbringings. These people have had the private educator, aren't they? So they do come out with stupidness. Bean did it for years. Now look at him. He's one of them that, when they line them all up to pick football, when I used to get them on football pitch, how will they hit ball? I'm picking team. I'd line them all up and go, you. There'd always be a couple I'd never wanted my team because they couldn't play. Well, Bean's like that, innit? And Gad, they're them, aren't they? Them sort of people. They want to be in the mix, but they know that they're uncool, so they're trying to act cool. Hey, Dylan, do you shower before a fight? It's odd behaviour, isn't it?
It's very odd behaviour. How did they get the gig? Who got them the gig?
Well, what happens is the Gad. I do know a little bit about the Gad. He's actually very educated and he's got a very good job. They're on mega. He's on mega dough. Him. He'll be on mega money. Daily Mail, is it, or Telegraph, whichever one.
Yeah.
They're on mega dough for that, and then they do like odd interviews, don't they, on behalf of print media. And they get their feet under the table before you know where you are. They're setting up their own YouTube channels, then they're going on other channels. They're doing a few views. They're in mix. Then they're getting media jobs, talk sport and pundit jobs and whatever, and it all works off it. That's how it works. It all starts off by hanging out the back of people at press conferences and weigh-ins. That's what it's. That's what. This is why you get all these people who are nothing to do with anybody on these shows. People in industry, but they're hanging about at presses and weigh-ins, but they ain't got a fighter there. It's because they want to get the sons out there. They're hovering. They're known as the sharks. When they speak to me, I go, out of here. I don't have them people near me. Lickers, that's what I call them. They're the people, and there's trainers that go to these shows as well, especially press conferences. And what they do, they tap fighters up. They go up to them and say, you're looking well. If you ever need any advice, come and see me. You know what I mean? But always listen to your trainer, but I'm always there for you. They plant that seed in fighters' heads. Now, I know because it's gone on. We know all old fighters get nicked off of other trainers, don't we? And this is why these people are out. And that, for me, is a problem. Because if I were a trainer and I had a fighter and somebody were talking to them and they were a trainer and they had a dodgy reputation for tapping trainers up, I won't be very pleased about it either. I wouldn't. But a lot of that goes on in industry, but hey ho, innit?
Do you think the gad's a good boxing writer?
Yeah, I do actually. He's print stuff, what he just put telecom. I think
that seems to be.
I think that's good.
That,
yeah.
Aye, he has. He's very.
Doesn't it? He lets himself down sometimes.
He does. He does.
Excited, but on the whole, I think his print media stuff's good. The problem is the interviewing, because obviously you'll get to know a few bits and bobs. And I remember somebody telling me something that they'd spoke to him and he knew about some certain thing. And then I seen him next day interview this person. And I thought, well, you know what he knew, what had gone on. And not once did he mention this certain thing that I thought, well, he'd have thought he'd mentioned that because they want to stay in the mix. That's the problem I have. That's the problem. All these people we access, no problem with it. But when you get them on hook, ask them. Don't be frightened. Don't let them soften you up, because when you don't ask questions to these media, to Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren and them, I think, well, why ain't he asking that? And then I think, well, last weekend he was in Frank Warren's box at Arsenal, or he was in Robert Diaz's house eating caviar in New York on Fifth Avenue, the Eddie, in Millionaire Boys Club. You see, these young YouTubers, they get impressionable. You take them out, blah, 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 impressionable. Dennis tried it with me. Don't be asking me this, don't be asking me that. I'm there tucking in, in some nice dress. Dennis said, Dennis, you can get effed. You know what I'll be asking. And he just laughs and says, you're a, CUNTU. Do you know what I mean? But I've got a different relationship to Dennis than Eddie Hearn will have with these YouTubers, because Dennis knows he won't be able to try that on with me because he knows what I'm about. But not everybody's the same as me, are they? Do you see where I'm coming? And Dennis is not at the level, is he? Eddie Hills and Bricktop. So, you know what I mean? He knows at that level he's at, he's going to get a bit of stick.
Ross, a guy like you is never going to be, not that I'm saying you probably want to.
Yeah.
You'll never be brought into the fold with people like, right? Because they would be terrified when you stood next to them. Nobody like Eddie Hills, right? He doesn't want to be called out publicly by anybody about anything. If I ever my mate got next to him in Edinburgh 2 weeks ago, big Hawaii 5-0 for Glasgow. He got an interview with Eddie, like, 15, 20 seconds. And Eddie, to be fair, said what he wanted him to say. It was a bit of comedy. It's a bit of a Glasgow TikTok style charity fight, white collar stuff. And he played the game. But if I get next to him, I'm putting it right on him. So we'll never get near them. Never. You'll never get near them. Do you think somebody like Peter Fury would get near Eddie Hearn?
No, because they wouldn't want to burn bridges, would they, for these fighters, would he?
I understand that, and I know he's respectful, but he's no scared to call any type of behaviour out.
No. If Peter wanted to say something to Eddie Hearn, he'd ring him up or say it to his face. He would pull him and say, "What about that?" And he would pull him with people that he'd pull him to one side. He wouldn't go on his social media. He's not that type of person. If there's something that needed to be said, Yeah, I saw Peter doing an interview the other day, and he said that they were being messed about, weren't they, by Sky and that. But Hughie's out April now, isn't it? 20th. But it was
He's out again.
Feb, then March. Now it's April, isn't it? So if it's in April 20th, when is it? You know what I
And
mean?
what about Hughie?
Hughie, they're saying Hughie's out April 20th. I said, Peter said he don't know the fighting. And that were a couple of days ago. And I said, well, that's good news, isn't it? Because I said, what's happening with Hughie? So if Hughie's out April 20th, that's brilliant. But he's been out at ring a long time now, hasn't he? So there's something not right at Sky, isn't there? They're obviously doing something wrong, but he's not been well, has he? So
What do you think? What do you think will come of Hughie?
well, I hope he wins the world title. I think he's got the ability to go all the way. But it's been stop-start, hasn't it? But he's still in his 20s, isn't it? So it's not end of world, is it, for him? But I think he's got the ability to win a world title, yeah. He's got no miles on clock, has he?
No, he's not. He's not had any major problems, but it's a real shame that's what's been on with him. He's got problems with his stomach and stuff. And Peter was talking about diet and food and how they corrected a lot of things, but I think they had to do it themselves. They got some good help with it. But he's a completely unknown quantity because we've not seen anything of him.
Oh, Hughie.
Yeah, we've not seen enough of him. We've not seen him, consistently produce the goods and see what that. Let's see how durable he is. Let's see him fight 3-4 times a year.
It's stop-start, isn't it? And I think that needs to stop. I think he needs to be out. We need to see him out. I don't want to hear any of this. Hughie's going to be out 3 times a year and blah blah blah. And I want to see him out because I like Hughie. He's a nice kid. He's on.
He seems to be. I like Peter Fury. I like listening to Peter as well.
Yeah,
decent guy. So if Joe Parker ends up here in the mix, right, there's going to come a point where he's going to need to fight Tyson Fury. They've already said that will never happen.
It may.
But how are we ever going to know who the man is?
Well, I don't think Parker's even in mix really to fight Fury or Usyk, and they've got the belts, haven't they? But I would like to see Fury fight Usyk twice. That's what I want to see. And stick to argument. You mind all that? Fight once and then let's step aside and let get Joshua in. No. If Fury fights Usyk twice, Joshua's got to fight another couple of people, hasn't he? It's as simple as that. And if Joshua gets beat, you've got to bring him back again, Eddie, and keep doing it. We don't risk it now, though, do they? They're saying he's ready now. No, they just want that fight. They know, right? He's beat Ngannou, Wallin, Elenius, and Franklin since he come back. None of them are champions, and that's all he's done since Ruiz win. So in 5 years, that's his wins. That's not good enough to say you're baddest man on planet. Eddie Hills will know that. He'll look at that CV and he'll think, we can convince the public that Anthony Joshua's the best man out there and the baddest man after what he's done to this guy and Ngannou. But the hardcores won't be convinced because it's 5 years since he beat a champion, and the champion who beat Ruiz flogged Joshua in the fight before. So he wouldn't have even been a champion. So that's his last champion win, and he won that fight in a stinker running, didn't he? So that Joshua CV, he's done nothing since Ruiz, and that was a stinker, absolute stinker. Before Ruiz, you'd have to go back to Vladimir before he had a decent win. Am I right? Yeah. Vladimir and Povetkin. And Povetkin broke his nose, and Vladimir dropped him. So
Vladimir, I was at the Vladimir fight. That wasn't an easy night.
And he's wrapped in cotton wool, Alex. So he's had these 4 fights, and if he's the baddest man on the planet, go fight Parker and Dylan White, and then we'll get to Fury fight or Usyk. But
he's not the baddest.
It would bother me if he didn't fight Parker and Dylan White next, and they just parked him up and wrapped him in cotton wool, saying, "Oh, he needs a rest. He's had 4 fights." Well, what about him being active? You kept going on about it. Got to be active. Keep your tools sharp, Eddie. I don't know, but my argument is this. He hasn't shown me shit to say he's the baddest man on the planet at all. He's just beat 4 guys that Usyk would have beat anyway, and Fury to beat them. Am I right?
Yeah, right. You can't argue with it.
Would Fury and Usyk beat Elenius, Franklin, and Wallin? Well, Fury's already done Wallin. Usyk can beat them all. And would they beat Ngannou? Fury's beat Wallin and Ngannou. So if you look at it, Wallin, Ngannou, and Kevin Johnson, I think, are they the only ones that Joshua's fought or Tyson's fought? There might be more. So Wallin, Joshua knocked him out. Fury, that should have been a Wallin win. And Garno, you could make a case for him beating Fury. Joshua knocked him out. Kevin Johnson went to points, didn't he? Joshua knocked him out inside 4 minutes, didn't he? So Joshua's CV against the opponents, common opponents, is better than Fury. But just because A beats B, don't mean B beats C, does it? You know? I don't know. I don't know, but
there's a hell of a lot of protection going on at these with these elite guys. You know, but the top, I need to stop calling them elite.
yeah, well, Martin McCauley's not in mix. Why is McCauley not in mix? He's done an Olympic gold medalist in Yoka, the last Olympics. Yeah, he'd done him. So why is he not in mix? McCauley, he's been parked up like Luis Ortiz.
So what's your theory there?
My theory is McCauley's a bogeyman. He doesn't draw flies and he can fight and he's technically very good. And I think Billy Nelson's had a raw deal with him. We either been treated by establishment, don't you?
So Eddie and that, so they're worried about him. They're worried that he's going to upset the cattle market because they still know Joshua is the big draw for the big Saudi money.
Listen, he's a big raw. He's a rough mushroom, that McCauley. He came down to Peter's gym. I was there. I saw him spy Hughie. He's rough, honestly. He cut Hughie with an elbow. That worked cut before he fought Pooler. He jumped in Billy Nelson and everybody were running around. Oh, it's cut. He was cut and it was a bad cut. Hughie's cut and it opened up. The point I want to make is this: that McCauley, he's an handful for any of them. And I don't see him getting his opportunities. I don't see it. Why not? Why can't they put Joshua McCauley on? Or Dylan White McCauley? When's Dylan White going to fight some of these bogeymen? Dylan White against McCauley's a good fight. Why not? Why? Why not McCauley Parker?
Because the window of opportunity to make the millions for the company out of Joshua and the current guys, the window of opportunity, let's say there's 2, maybe 3 years left for them all, right? Close them all out, few fights with each other, a couple of 100 million, retire them, move them on, then bring in your Bacoli's, your Hughie Furies and start doing it all again. And the exploitation just repeats itself.
Yeah.
That's all it is. They bring them in segments, they bring them in little blocks, 5, 6 guys at a time, throw them round with each other, 5, 6 year pit bomb, retire them, move them on, and then bring it. And that's all it's about. That's all it's about. Milk Anthony Joshua for every single dime they can get out of him over the next 3 years. Did you notice after he chinned Ngannou, the last time, I think when he beat Ruiz, Eddie jumps in the ring right after, you know, the head support and jumping to the ropes when he get knocked out. Eddie's in the ring, he's behind him, he's lifting him up. Joshua didn't really like it. There was a bit of an issue. He'd done it with Tony Bellew as well a few times, and then Bellew had to say, calm down a wee bit. Now, when he entered the ring, he was quick into the ring after Ngannou got sparked. Joshua never gave him a second glance.
Never gave him a second glance.
Eddie Hearn.
No, he didn't. I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that.
There's a real disparaging thing going on there. They're not fans of one another anymore.
You reckon?
I do, Ross. I reckon the damage is done because mentally Anthony Joshua broke up, and I don't think that he thought Eddie had his back enough, which is probably unfair on Eddie Hearn, but he now doesn't want to get anywhere near him. There's no cuddle, there's no embrace, there's no handshake, there's no dialogue. And even when they're in an interview, it's kept very short and it's kept very, very scripted. And it's as if Joshua cannot wait to get to the change room and get away with him. I'm very observant with human behaviour. I watch it all the time and I see this constantly with Joshua now. Whereas prior, they were like this with one another. Something big times went down that we just don't know about. Honestly.
Okie dokie then. Well, listen, Alex, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you for having me.
You got it out of your system?
Nearly.
So you told me you've got a YouTube channel, have you, Alex? You started a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I've got about 7,000 on it. It used to be about I used to do all the climbing in the mountains and stuff, offshore, off-grid living, mental health, you know, stuff like that with veterans. I'm an ex-veteran myself. I was in the Royal Marines. So I do a lot of stuff with guys that are struggling. But I run a child protection team on Facebook, Spartan Child Protection Team. Got about 44,000 on it. We do the interceptions, you know, we catch the online groomers, we live stream it to the public. So,
well, that's good,
yeah,
then, isn't it?
yeah, I do a lot of that. That's why I'm down south a lot.
Somebody sent me some other day, some bloke who'd done some, he'd been online and been talking to somebody who were underage and he'd gone to meet them. And they chased him, these people, and they jumped under a van and killed his.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it happens. It does happen. I had a car chase last year with a guy, 100-odd-mile-an-hour car chase through Glasgow. We eventually caught him. He put his car in its roof, trying to meet an 11-year-old girl. That case is still going on just now. So, and I caught a guy in Liverpool that came out his mum's house and attacked me. It was on the live stream, so he gets splattered all over the front garden. That was last year. I've had a lot of kind of close things as well. Caught a convicted murderer in Newcastle who came out and tried it on me as well. Aye, it's what I do. It's, you know, I've got a good team, built it up myself, and I know the scale of the problem, Russ. So that's my bugbear. That's where the majority of my time goes, because I know the scale of the problem. It's a major problem in the UK.
Right.
So that's that.
Okay, well, listen, good luck with that. It's not my cup of tea, because
No, I know.
right,
It's
that's
toxic.
a bit, you know, but listen, it's each to their own, and if you feel strongly about it, why not?
Aye, I do. Aye, it's crazy stuff.
Okay.
But I still love my boxing. That's my sanity. My boxing is my sanity.
Right, what you got planned for the rest of the day, Alex?
I'm going to go and record a wee couple of videos from my TikTok channel for the Spartan stuff. I've got quite a lot of messages to respond to as well. So aye, I'll be busy.
Do you want to tell everybody your social media handles before we finish?
Yeah, my YouTube's AC coming back to life, and on Facebook we're Spartan Child Protection Team, and on TikTok I'm AC_Spartan. Quite easy to find.
All right. Well, listen, you take
All right,
care.
Ross.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for the time, mate. Cheers. See you later.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks for liking and subscribing. Leaving a comment. Well, that were Alex from the Scottish Highlands. Women love him, men want to be him. Interesting character, loves his boxing. He's not happy with how things are going, and I don't blame him. But that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. I think that's about it. I'm off over to see the dripping tap now. Pop, pop, bang. The tap! I like for filming now. I'll go see dripping tap. He's going to take me for a cuppa. He said, I'll make you the sandwich, Porky. Took one look at his kitchen. I said, no. John and Gary will have a sandwich, though, off your dripping. Or Max, he loves a good cheese and pickle sandwich. But Drip, if I were going to let you have a sandwich, mate, make me a sandwich. It'd have to be granary on extra strong cheese, Lurpak butter, and a bit of beetroot. But only one slice of bread. Bread's no good for me. Right. Okie dokie. Go on, peace out. I hope you all share this on your WhatsApps. Bye bye bye.